I think many of you are already having this conversation with so many people losing weight with the help of semaglutide medications like Ozempic or Wegovy. A new term has surfaced as a side effect to those medications. It's referred to as food noise. Food noise. People claiming medications like Ozempic lower their food noise, meaning they are less preoccupied with the idea of food. It's an interesting idea that got us thinking, are there drug-free ways to quiet the food noise? Studio 5 Health Contributor Miki Eberhardt, great to have you.
Thank you. Love this topic.
I am really intrigued to hear what you have to say because this phrase, food noise, was new to me. I read an article in the Washington Post that described it pretty well. Will you define it for us, food noise?
Sure. Food noise is constant, intrusive thoughts about food. So this isn't, what should we have for dinner? But this is a preoccupation, an obsession that you're always thinking about food, craving food, or trying to figure out, like, it may, how am I going to get this food kind of a thing.
So can I ask a different scenario? Is this someone thinking, I'm really excited for dinner. I am really looking forward to my next meal?
That could be, so there's a spectrum, and I think you bring up a good point. There's a spectrum with food noise, that it could be this example you give, which could be a normal thing as you start to feel hunger.
A little more mild, perhaps healthy.
Gosh, I'm feeling hunger. What are we gonna have for dinner?
Yeah.
Like this is, oh, and I like it. I'm excited for that. Versus constant cravings, feeling like you're never satisfied. Always thinking, obsessing about, writing down, looking through books and recipe books. That's this side of the spectrum.
So what's the difference between food noise, as we dissect this new phrase, new to me anyway, food noise versus food addiction?
So the noise is going to be everything happening up here.
Okay.
And the addiction is how it comes out in behaviors. So I may be thinking about or craving something all the time. If I have a food addiction to something, usually that's going to be how it presents in the actual behavior of eating.
Got it, the execution.
The execution.
Okay, so this idea, it was a fascinating article, and it's not just, a toss-away side effect of these semaglutide medications. Scientists are actually studying why people psychologically, they feel their brain feels quieter. Are there drug-free alternatives that can help us get there?
Yes, and I think it's important what they have found so far. It's a newer drug, so we're seeing it, but how that drug works is it slows the stomach emptying, right?
Okay.
That combined with there's a satisfaction component that's happening up there.
Like I'm not hungry.
Which is why the food noise quiets. So are there drug-free ways to do that same thing? Yes. And the reason why I can say that confidently, Brooke, is because personally, there have been times in my life when I have had elevated food noise in my brain. And after 20 years of doing the work that I've done, I can look back at those times specifically and recognize exactly why that food noise was loud. And so these causes, if we can pair it with a solution, hopefully we can do that on our own, because no matter where you are on that spectrum, Brooke, if you are constantly thinking about food, that's exhausting. It takes up a lot of bandwidth in our brains that could be so much more helpful and useful in other areas.
I'm hearing you say, though, it's not just a psychological fix, it's a physical to psychological. Like if I feel satiated, if I feel full in the right way, that will help my brain.
This is correct.
Not chatter to myself about all the good food that's out there. Okay,
right.
You're gonna share with us 4 causes of food noise and 4 solutions to the cause. First, you want us to trade lack of planning for planning.
Correct, right? We kind of want to take a page out of Steve Jobs' handbook here. He always wore black, right? He didn't want to have decision fatigue when it came to what am I going to wear every day. And so if we are hungry every few hours, every day, and we have no plan, it's a lot of time up in our brain thinking, I'm hungry, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat? What am I going to eat?
Because we're looking, we're searching, then we're shopping, then we're going out to eat to satisfy.
Correct.
Okay.
Decisions aren't made well when we're hungry. And so if there's a plan, if I can plan once and have decisions made throughout the week, flexible, it doesn't have to be concrete, it's really going to quiet that food noise.
I am in my meal planning era right now, and I've waited my whole adult life to be in this, and I don't
so
want to
proud.
jinx myself, but I'm like 3 months in and it's going really, really well. I did see a friend posted, she snack plans, and I was like, oh shucks, like I'm feeling good about meal planning now, and it has. We're going out to eat a lot less, and I feel so confident. Do you recommend going as far as snack planning?
Snack planning.
Snack planning?
Because you robust your snacks. It's no longer I'm going to grab this to get through, but I'm going to pair this with this.
These are thoughtful foods that I've pre-planned.
Yes.
Here's a psychological aspect too. You almost get excited for it. Like if I know that snack's coming or that dinner that I planned on Sunday is coming tonight, there's almost a little buildup. Is that anti-productive?
There is a buildup, but there also is peace that comes.
Yeah.
For example, I'm coming today. I'm going to record Studio 5, and I've got errands I got to run. I'm not going to be home for lunch. So in my car, I've got a little veggie thing that I got at Costco. I've got a thing of nuts, and it's like I don't even have to worry. When I do feel that hunger, I've got my snack ready to go.
All right, you want us to replace measuring for listening.
Yes. If you feel like you have to measure, count, track, weigh, all of the things that you're going to put in your mouth, that's a lot of mental gymnastics to know, am I eating right or am I not eating right? And that is elevating food noise. It also creates this all or nothing, this perfectionistic attitude towards eating that, again, can become all-consuming in our brains. So instead of feeling like I have to track and measure, let's replace that for listening to our bodies.
Can we trust ourselves, though? I think someone who's so preoccupied with food as you describe, it's like, am I the right person to listen to?
It's the very first step that we have to know that we can trust ourselves. We can create a framework to help us get to that spot, but we have to be able to recognize when those feelings of hunger start to come on, and I have a plan, I can trust myself to follow through.
You want us to replace restricting for giving.
Yes. Anytime that we restrict food, whether that we're hungry all the time, or I take out an entire food group, not for medical reasons, but for other things.
No sugar.
I'm not going to sugar for a month. I'm not going to sugar for this thing. That is one time in my life, Brooke, that food noise went through the roof. Is that I did one of those challenges, and I've never thought about candy more in my life than when I told myself I wasn't going to eat any of it, right? The other times is when we're hungry. I participate in a religious fast once a month, right? And that is something that I choose to do for mind, body, spirit. In my regular day-to-day life, I have food peace. I don't have food noise, but I always recognize that day, the food noise goes up.
When
and
you're
it's because
restricting.
I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I'm hungry. And so if we live in a state of hunger because I'm restricting and not honoring that hunger and fullness, that food noise isn't going away.
Finally, you want us to trade compensating for problem solving. What do you mean by that?
So is the food noise there because I'm using food to deal with stress, lack of sleep, hard emotions, that instead could I compensate instead and maybe seek out therapy? Do some yoga, some meditation, figure out how to get better sleep, those kinds of things that in the end will create overall better health, but also quiet that food noise.
It's a great question. It's the why. It's the why is this chatter so loud?
Yes.
You have a pyramid that helps illustrate this principle. We'll put it on the screen and you can walk us through it.
Okay, so this is kind of a pyramid that I would say would help with planning to help quiet that food noise overall, and it foundation, bottom up. So the first thing we want to think about is timing. I'm eating regular meals and snacks over the course of every 3 to 4 hours when our natural hunger cycle occurs. So that's, I have to be eating frequently. And then above that is quantity. Am I eating enough? Am I getting enough from the food groups to satiate what I need, including those extra food groups for snack, maybe to boost up the snack? Above that then is variety, not feeling like I have to eat the same thing every day to achieve a goal, but having options available. Above that is gentle nutrition, getting those good whole grains, heart-healthy fats, plants, produce, fiber. And then above that, Brooke, is pleasure.
That's like a small box.
Yes, but it's on there.
Yeah,
and it's part of it. And honestly, I always go back and forth between putting it below the gentle nutrition or above it.
This is really helpful.
Because it's okay to have the treat and the snack and the drink and those kinds of things. But if that's the bottom of my pyramid, we have a problem.
We're out of whack.
Or if I am like trying to do something, if I'm training for something, the tippy top is activity specific. Or if I'm really big on boutique specific organic food, but I'm eating it one time a day and not getting enough. It's not going to quiet the food noise.
It's balance.
It's balance.
It's balance. Back to that foundational principle, which you're so good to point to and remind us of often, Miki. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
This was
Brooke.
really insightful. I'll be thinking about this one.